Welcome and hello. Today we're going to I'm going to show you, demonstrate how to cleanse your crystals. You should have a handout on my top 8 ways to cleanse my crystals, but today I want to show you my favorite ways. So let's dive right in. Okay, what I'm showing you here are some crystals that we used yesterday for a healing on a client. And what she did, you saw in another video, was how she picked the crystals. Okay, since the crystals have been used, they always need to be cleansed afterwards. Right here is some sea salt and some warm water. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to put the crystals in: amethyst, aquamarine, rose quartz, orange calcite, carnelian, smoky quartz, and you notice I skipped 3. I skipped the lapis lazuli, the emerald, and the petrified wood because I would not put those crystals in salt water to cleanse them. I will show you another way to cleanse them. Now that the crystals are fully submerged in the warm salt water, I am going to leave them there for 12 to 24 hours. So I'm going to go ahead, and since I have you guys here, these are some other crystals that were used yesterday, and I'm going to place them in as well. This is an Auralite wand, and let's see, we have some clear quartz, more amethyst, and it doesn't matter if you guys cannot see these, do not worry, I will show you in later. Citrine and carnelian are going in, another huge piece of carnelian, green aquamarine, another Auralite 23 wand, and the rest of these crystals, rose quartz, amethyst, I'm going to be cleansing in a different way. Okay, red jasper, that's a new one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. Another tip, guys, always, always, always use glass when you are doing this, okay? You don't want the salt water to break down the plastic and get those toxins in, and then the crystals will absorb the toxins from the plastic. So always use glass, okay? Now, for some of my bigger crystals, I just use this glass bowl, okay? And this is what I chose today to use. It is some Epsom salt crystals, okay? You can also use sea salt, is excellent to use. You can even use table salt. I like to use Epsom salt because I also make crystal infused scrubs with essential oils as well. So when I buy it this way, I can use it. This is 1/4 of a cup, and I normally put in 1/4 of a cup for the smaller dish and about 1/2 a cup for the larger dish, okay? I use the warm water because it does help the crystals to dissolve quicker. And so in my glass container is my warm, I'm just gonna tilt the camera here so you can see. And it is important that you fully submerge them. Now, if you remember from the handout, or if you're looking at the handout, I also suggest a full moon cleanse. If you really, really want to cleanse a crystal, if it really feels sticky and that it's absorbed a lot of energy and it just needs to be cleansed, I love to do this together, to put my crystals in the salt water and then put them out in the full moonlight. Okay, so tonight's not a full moon, so I won't be doing that. All right, so I'm gonna put some bigger pieces in that dish. I used this yesterday, this amethyst wand during the healing because it really helps to direct the energy. And I use this under the massage table. My client was having some major throat chakra blockage. So this beautiful blue calcite was placed under the table right about where her throat was. Okay, so that is gonna go in here. All right. Now, in another video, we'll talk about Dr. Emoto's scientific discoveries on water. But briefly, I just want to share with you here that he basically had about 4 or 5 different waters, okay? And what he did is he put a different intention in each water. And he taped it on the glass. Some he said, hate, you're ugly, and just hateful type words. And then on other ones, he put loving type words. And then he examined them underneath a microscope. And the water that had loving type words under the microscope turned into these beautiful crystals. And they almost look like snowflakes, okay? On the words that were infused with the hateful type of words, they looked very ugly and broken down, and there was no crystal formation. There was no sacred geometry in that water. So that brings me to my third point in cleansing the crystals with the salt water. Okay, 1, you want to use the glass, the warm salt water, and number 2, you can also put it underneath a full moon. And number 3, set the intention even with the water. Bless the water. As we learn from Nikia, everything is an energy, okay? So it's only going to help. All right, so that is how we cleanse our crystals using salt water. So another way to cleanse our crystals is to use a smudge. And I'm sure you guys have heard about smudging. And smudging actually even disinfects the air. There was a study that I read that it can change the air for up to, I want to say, an entire week. So don't quote me on that, but look it up. So I just get my smudge. You guys can get them from any place online. I personally like to get mine from Whole Foods. Gives me an excuse to go into Whole Foods. I also found that I like the shorter, smaller sticks because I have made the mistake of getting the larger ones and it just started billowing smoke and it kind of got a little out of control. So where I believe I left you guys off was I had put some of my crystals that were hard enough and that could tolerate the salt. Okay, so I have some of the smaller ones here that I used in a healing yesterday. They're gonna sit here for 24 hours till tomorrow, where I will then rinse them and dry them. And then over here are some of my larger ones that I used yesterday in my healing, and right now they are being cleansed in the sea salt with the energized water. Okay, so now I have some softer stones that I used yesterday as well. One was this selenite wand, and I used this to connect the energies and all the crystals on my client, okay? And I have another one. Okay, now some people say selenite does not need to be cleansed. I personally love ritual and I love the energy behind it. So I like to cleanse all my crystals and just give them that same love and energy. But you may, as working with your crystals, and the more you get to know your crystals, you may feel like some don't need to be cleansed. So I'm going to show you now the way we do the sage, okay? I'm going to light the sage. Now, a lot of people also use for ceremony, ritual, a feather, and then the feather moves the smoke around. This is more for when you're saging your home because energies get stuck in corners. And then a lot of people use an abalone shell to hold the ashes, okay? I'm using a cup today. So as the smoke's coming off, it is so simple. All you really need to do is with the intention and setting the intention that this crystal be cleansed back to its pure vibrational state, and that all unwanted energies, all energies that are not serving the crystal, be dispelled and dismuted back to Mother Earth. And so that's it. You just pass it through the smoke. It's a very gentle cleanse. It does not take that long. And you just kind of go through and you do the same thing with the intention that it be cleansed. Okay? So that is how we cleanse with sage smoke. When you're done, just kind of tap it out. And if you don't want the smoke in your house and you don't want to cleanse the crystals with the sage smoke, What you can do is you can buy this awesome sage spray. I absolutely love this. I get it at Whole Foods. I'm sure you could get it online, but it's called Sage Smudge Mist. And I want to say it's between $15 to $18. It lasts forever. And since I also make crystal jewelry, I am saging all the time. As soon as I bring new crystals into the house, I'm saging them. Before they leave the house, I sage them, and then, and then I mail them to my clients. But again, it's who knows what's energy it's picked up along the way, especially throughout the mail. So it's really nice to have some Sage Smudge Mist. You can sage anything with it, not just your crystals. So we'll check on these. Okay. You can see they're in my bowl with the salt, and then my bigger ones are over here in this bowl, and I'm going to leave these for 24 hours, and then the next video, once our crystals are cleansed, we're going to charge our crystals. So that's what we're going to talk about, is we're going to talk about charging our crystals next. Another way that we can cleanse our crystals that I wanted to talk about briefly is you can cleanse them with using other crystals as well. Another cleanse crystal, especially the white, high vibrating clear quartz or selenite, are some crystals that I like to use. And what you can do is you can almost make a bed with the crystals, and you can lay them on there. So hopefully you guys can see this crystal bed that I've made with selenite and clear quartz. And what you could do, like for this piece right here, this malachite would just absolutely fall apart if I were to cleanse this crystal in salt water, or even underneath just the running water. So I could lay this right on there on my crystal bed, which is going to give it a nice charge as well. And I can spray it with my sage, and I'm setting the intention for it to be cleansed and for all the energies that are stuck to the crystal that are no longer useful to be dispelled and transmuted by the clear quartz crystals. Okay? Another way to cleanse your crystals as well is to ground them or to earth them. You can put them by a plant, you can put them outside, and you can put them back into the ground where they came from. And our earth is filled with ions and is soaking up all of our negative ions. It just takes that energy. It's so important for even us to earth every day. And you can just lay the crystals outside and put them in the earth for 24 hours. Some people even bury the crystals.
So I pre-dug the hole. As you can see, I had to get to the dirt. And all you do is you take your crystals and you put them in here in the hole, and you put the dirt back over them and you bury them. And then you can just leave them buried in the earth like that. And then when you're ready, you just dig them back out. Get your stones out. Of course, replace the earth back to normal. And that is how you bury your crystals. Okay, another thing that I do as far as dirt and crystals is if you have any plants laying around the house, your plants have dirt in them. So what I'll do is I'll take the crystals and I'll actually put them around my plants and clear them that way. This way the crystals are getting the energy, from the earth still and the plant, and then the plant and the crystals are exchanging energy with each other. And this is an aloe plant. I'm waiting on these to fall off naturally. They're not quite ready to leave the plant yet. But that is another way that I also clear my crystals, is I put them in with my plants, because that really clears them, and then it also gives that nice energy to the plants to help them grow.
Begin to do that is during the full moon, to earth them under the full moon.
All right, now for the water portion, you turn your water on. Make sure it's not too hot because you don't want to burn yourself. And then what I always do, I know it's a little loud, but what I always do is I take my crystals, I hold them under the water and I say my intentions. I am programming this crystal for love and light, and I only wish that that purest energy and light come forth from this crystal. And I sit and I focus on that. And I picture light going in the crystal and the light surrounding the crystal and emanating through the crystal as I run them underwater. I also imagine a bubble of light around me as I clear these crystals. And then once I'm done, I just take them, dry them off in a towel, paper towel, and that is it. When using crystals in water, you want to make sure that the Mohs hardness is 5 or above, because crystals whose Mohs hardness is below that may disintegrate in water. And we have a sheet of the do's and don'ts of crystals. So if you're ever wondering what crystal you can do what with, we have a sheet for that.
I hope that you find these helpful. And again, guys, use that Facebook group to communicate if you have any questions. And I'm looking forward to connecting more on our weekly call. So bring your questions and we will try to cover and answer all this. Crystal blessings.